By my calculations, in about 7 days, 10 hours, 30 minutes, and 20 seconds, thousands of runners are going to hit the streets of Akron for the Akron Marathon. In about 15 seconds, you'll find out more about that race here on NewsNite. Every year about this time, for the past 10 years, a blue line that's painted on some of the streets of Akron gets a fresh coat of paint. Well, that blue line is actually the course for the Akron Marathon, and it's 26 miles, 385 yards long. The Akron Marathon has been recognized as one of the top 50 marathons in the country, appealing to runners of all shapes, sizes, classes, from world class to the weekend warrior runners. Well, this year's the 10th anniversary for the Akron Marathon, and we wanted to sit down and talk with some people who've been instrumental in the race since its very beginning. Welcome. We have Ann Bitong, who is, in fact, the executive director of the marathon. We have Bret Treier, also with the race since its beginning. Bret is director of the Akron Marathon Charitable Corporation Board, and he's also the course committee co-chair. He's the man who decides how the course runs. And, of course, Steve Marks, who, along with his wife, Janine, co-founded the race. And Steve is also chairman of the Akron Marathon Charitable Corporation Board. So thank you all for joining us.
Thanks for having us. Happy to be here. Great to be here.
Crunch time. 7 days. What's it like, Ann?
Yes, excitement is building for our 10th running. The staff and planning committee members are busy putting the final touches on what is expected to be a sold-out event this year.
Are you ready?
We're ready. We're ready. There's always last-minute details to prepare for, but we are just thrilled for 15,000 runners to toe the line come race morning.
And that 15,000 runners, that's marathon, half marathon, and relay runners?
That's correct, as well as we're expecting 2,000 in our Kids Fun Run.
Steve, I want to talk to you for a minute here about how you and Janine came up with the idea for a race. And how long did it take you from conception to reality?
Well, you know, Janine and I always run in marathons. We always wondered why Akron didn't have a marathon. We've been to cities of our same size. So I naively went into the city of Akron. And you know, if you look at the barriers to entry and achieving a marathon, it really comes down to community support, government support, and money. So I went into the city and said, hey, you know, if I know the community would support this, and if the government and the city of Akron would support this, you know, we would have that third leg. And the city of Akron embraced it, and overnight we were in charge of a marathon. So it was kind of scary from the beginning, but fortunately we had the luxury of time on our hands, and we could plan this 3 years in advance. And so we had the ability to go to other marathons and benchmark with them: the Cincinnati Marathon, the Pittsburgh Marathon, the Cleveland Marathon. We were able to put committee structures in place. We were able to go out and reach out to sponsors and talk to pillars of our community and see if they would embrace our marathon. So from the very beginning, we put a lot of planning into it for our first day, which was in October of 2003.
Take us back to that first marathon. How many runners showed up? And was it, in fact, just a marathon?
Our first year, we had 3,775 finishers. Okay. And this year, we're expecting 15,000. Our event has always included a full marathon, a 5-person team relay, and a kids fun run. We added the half marathon distance in 2007. We knew early on that we wanted the event to have a community component. We wanted it to be an event where corporate relay teams could come out and participate in the event. Family and friends could organize a relay team. And actually, that's become quite our niche. We are ranked as the largest marathon relay in the country.
Wow. Bret, I know that you were instrumental in designing the course itself. What does it take to design a 26-mile race?
I guess a lot of patience and some high math skills.
Do you just get in a car and start?
Well, believe it or not, a lot of times, yes, you do. You run it. We practice runs. Really, what started the course design was my course co-chair and I, Dave Hunter, took Steve's initial concept. Steve had kind of in his mind what he wanted to do for the course without the exact measurements. And part of the goal is to take really all of our local and visiting runners through kind of a tour of Akron, through our core neighborhoods, past some of our favorite places, favorite sites, whether it's crossing the All-America Bridge at the start, heading down through Buchtel Commons at the University of Akron, through Stan Hewitt. We run right through the halls of, or the path at Stan Hewitt. We also go through San Run Metro Park and the Ohio and Erie Canal towpath. So Steve had this concept of basically giving people a fun, catered tour of our city, and then we had to figure out how to put it into a fixed start and a fixed finish and still accomplish that in, as you said, 26 miles, 385 yards.
Wow. Paint us a picture, if you would, please, Ann, about the kind of event that it is today. You said it started as with everything but the half marathon, correct?
Correct. That's
Okay.
correct. And it's one of those things where we hear so many stories of runners that maybe they were stuck in traffic that first year, and maybe frustration moved from frustration to motivation, and now they are runners. The city of Akron has become an even stronger running community because of Steve and Janine's vision for the Akron Marathon. So really what it is, in my opinion, is a celebration of Akron. I feel as though it is Akron at its best. It brings everyone in the community to their feet, whether they're running in the event or they're cheering on the runners along our blue line.
All right, so you've got everybody starts at the same time, except for the fun run, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
We kick off race day on September 29th at 6:59 a.m. with our wheelchair start, and then promptly at 7 a.m. we have our mass start. That's the full marathon, the half marathon, and the team relay. We have our kids' fun run that begins at 9 a.m. Just an hour and about 5 minutes later, we expect our first half marathon finisher to come into the stadium, where we will celebrate with a victory party and awards presentation up until about 1 p.m. when our course closes.
And I have been to those, and it is an absolutely amazing time. It is so much fun.
It is, and our event really, again, is about the community. It's about the runners, and if you haven't witnessed our event, we really encourage everyone to do so, because I guarantee you, once you witness the event, you will come back, whether it's a runner, a volunteer, or a spectator every year.
Yeah, Ann mentions we start at 7 a.m., which is true, but the last starter doesn't actually cross the start line until about 7:10 in the morning. It actually takes 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
For all these people to cross the start, which is really cool to see as they're going by.
Okay, now it takes 10 minutes and they get past the start line. But one of the fun things, as you started to mention, was that everybody who finishes comes in at Canal Park Stadium. What's that like?
That's always been one of our kind of primary kind of love fest, really. We always wanted our runners to have this Olympic-style finish where they come bursting through the right center field fence. And it actually kind of adds to the excitement a little bit because they duck down the little red brick road behind Canal Park. So it's kind of a quiet little space. And then when you come into the stadium, and I know Ann does a great job each year of having this kind of big festive atmosphere, live music, Creek Kelly, our 10-year announcer over the PA, hopefully hearing your name announced, as you enter center field, and you get to finish literally right across the field at first base. But the colors and the atmosphere and just the festive atmosphere is something that I think all of our runners truly treasure, the finish in the stadium.
And we get to see 4 hours of that finish.
Right.
We see that from the first finisher to the last finisher, and everybody has a different expression on their face, and it's really exciting to see. I mean, it never gets old.
No, it doesn't.
I know that one of the things that you have all talked to me about is the fact that the city of Akron is an extraordinary partner in all of this. And I had an opportunity to sit down with Rick Marola and talk with him a little bit about the kinds of preparations that the city goes through. And I want you to hear what he had to say.
We work very closely. We have a number of city divisions that are involved, from recreation, parks maintenance, street cleaning, traffic engineering, communications, police, fire. It's a myriad, probably hundreds of city employees are involved in this. Many on race day, but many behind the scenes preparing for the race and getting it ready. So it's a first-class event like it always has been for 10 years.
Tell us about the kinds of things the day of the race, Rick. What kind of manpower are we talking about? Because I'm talking police, fire, just regular city officials.
I'd say on the day of the race, we probably have 100 to 125 city employees out there on race day, between police, recreation, communications, and then of course we do cleanup afterwards with our street cleaning division. So it's a big contingent of city employees there. And you know, for the most part, they love doing it. It's a great event. Many city employees, including the head of the sanitation division himself, runs in the marathon.
So the City of Akron and the employees for the City of Akron are a big part of the success of the race, correct?
Absolutely. The City of Akron has been a founding sponsor since the beginning of our race. Their commitment, expertise, and assistance in delivering and executing a world-class event couldn't be done without them. We have every city department assisting us with the race, and truly they've become friends of the marathon in helping us deliver this world-class race. In fact, we have over 100 City of Akron employees running in this year's race.
Wow.
Oh, that's fun. I didn't know that, Ann.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing that we love on the course committee is the passion that these city employees bring to this. Mm-hmm. They're not just doing their job. They embrace the race. They do whatever they can working with us. They sit through a lot of meetings with us, and they're very patient with us. But they're really passionate about kind of their involvement in this race, and we love that.
I know that the help from the City of Akron and the manpower that they provide is extraordinary. But I'm struck by the number of volunteers that you get involved in the race. Do you have any numbers on those?
Yes, the volunteers certainly are a critical component to race weekend. We position nearly 3,000 volunteers along our course and additional volunteers that help us throughout the year. Volunteer duties include anything from assistance at the start line, course support, assistance at the fluid stops along the course, assistance at the Health and Fitness Expo, and we are just amazed at the number of volunteers that come out and help us deliver this great race every year.
Well, and they not just come out and help you by distributing the water at maybe a rest stop. A lot of them will have music. They'll be dressed in costumes. It's absolutely amazing.
It is. We will have 30 entertainment groups along our course this year, and we also have 10 block parties. And runners just really get a thrill out of the course support. Our blue line really comes to life on race day, and our volunteers not only are ambassadors for the event, they're ambassadors for the city, and it really means a lot to the runners.
I want to talk about numbers. Okay, how many now? You said 15,000 runners.
Correct.
But the number of runners in the marathon that's closed, correct?
It is. We are sold out in our marathon with 2,000 participants. Our half marathon is expected to sell out with 4,500 participants. Our team relay, 6,500 participants or 1,300 teams, and then our kids fun run, 2,000 children.
Wow. Talk a bit, when you talk about numbers, I want you to talk for a minute about the kinds of people who line the streets. I mean, you've got volunteers who literally come out and man the fluid stations, but anywhere along the course, you've got neighborhoods that come out and just line the street.
That's correct. We deliver neighborhood notifications to everyone that lives along our blue line. And there's multiple reasons for doing so. One is to let them know that it's race day once again in Akron.
That's right.
Number two is to let them know that there will be some road closures that they have to consider for that morning. And thirdly, we want to invite them to come out to participate in one of the largest world-class events in their hometown. And a lot of people certainly take advantage of doing so.
Well, the amazing thing to me is with the Akron Marathon, it is so runner-centric, if that's a word to be used. Speak to us for a minute about the kinds of things that you are able to do for the runners.
You know, from the very beginning, we always wanted to have that personal experience with the runner. Our race director, Jim Barnett, every runner that crosses the finish line, has a personal handshake. We print the name of the runner on their race bib. We focus on what would a runner want in a race. A lot of that is the swag, the free stuff that they get. The runners, they get official Brooks apparel. Our full marathoners get an official race jacket, which is an $80 value. Our half marathoners and relay runners get a technical shirt. We also have a beautiful medallion when they cross the finish line that we wrap around their neck. And we also give a free subscription to Running Times. Our marathon and half marathoners will receive a finisher's hat this year. So everything that we do is based off of the best interest of the runner, as far as the experience that they deliver, the signs that we position along the course, the inspirational signs that we place along the course, and the services that we provide, and then, of course, the giveaways that we give as well.
In the very beginning, Bill Rogers was at our first race, and he's the world-class marathoner and probably the most famous marathoner of all time. He commented that Akron treats every runner like a world-class athlete. And so that when we heard that, we sort of took that home and said, boy, that's a great mantra to have. And so that's how we've done it from the very beginning, is our runners are our customers, and we want to treat them like world-class athletes. And what would we do if that were the case? And so that's how we've operated since the beginning.
That's exactly right. It's kind of like the mission statement. Most of the decisions made by staff, Steve as leadership, or the board, or volunteers, we always ask ourselves, what would be the best interest of the runner? Right. Both the elite and the average everyday, as you call them, weekend warrior. And that's what we usually try to use as our fallback on our mission statement for what's in the best interest of the runners.
But you make it so easy for the runners, too. Because, okay, so you show up for the race, and usually it's kind of cold, so you're going to take off the sweats, and but everybody has a bag that you guys then end up transporting down to the stadium, correct?
FedEx helps out tremendously getting the bag, the bag stop. Even though it's only a couple blocks. They take their bags from the starting line to the finish line. But the experience actually starts earlier than that. And you call it the blue line experience. It starts when the runners first get to the expo. And if you haven't been to the expo, where they pick up their race number and they pick up their swag, as Ann said, and hopefully buy some other swag, a blue line greets them in the night center. And so we put down a blue line, and that takes them all the way through the expo and then out the exit. So they're introduced to the blue line from the minute they get to our city.
Well, not only that, but then each of the runners has I don't want to call it an ankle bracelet, but it's a tracking device.
A chip.
Yes.
A chip, okay. And what is that for?
The timing chip allows us to everyone have an honest race. As certain runners cross various checkpoints, our exchange zones for the relay, it will deliver a time of each timing mat, and then also deliver a final finishing time. And what we have done in partnership with Time Warner Cable is family members and friends can sign up to track their runner on race day. So as they cross a timing mat along the course, a text message or Facebook alert or tweet or email will be delivered, and spectators can track their runner along the course, and then they'll know what time they should greet them and their family and friends and their finishers inside Canal Park Stadium.
Well, one of the other questions that I asked Rick Marola had to do with the economic impact of this race. So what are your statistics showing in terms of that?
Well, there is a direct benefit to the greater Akron area of race weekend. People that come in from out of town, their travel, their meals, their entertainment, the items that they purchase at our Health and Fitness Expo and other retail establishments has yielded a $5.2 million economic impact to the Akron area. And that was based just last year. That's
just
correct.
in 1 year.
Wow.
And we know that there is more that we can do. We are working with the Austin Bioinnovation Institute of Akron to conduct a health impact this year, and so we are really excited to deliver that final report come 2013.
So what's new this year? The race is 10 years old. Did you have anything new going on?
Yes.
There are always some new things, right, Steve? One of the things we've done is we've changed the course a little bit this year.
I wanted to ask you about that, because that hill at Sand Run.
You see,
Bret, you turned that corner.
No, it's actually, we're very comfortable with the hill. Although some of our friends have nicknamed it Sand Run Mountain, I'll admit that. But no, we're very comfortable that both the elite runners and all of our average runners in the race are going to have a slightly better experience going up Sand Run. It's only about 200 meters long, and yes, it's a little steeper, but it's overall easier on the runners than going the long gradual climb up to Revere and then having the rolling hills on Revere. Once you get up Sand Run Hill, you duck onto Overwood. You have that lovely new shaded part of our course. Hopefully we'll have another little community support there on Overwood, and you get to recover. And just for the record, I lived right off of Sand Run for 15 years. I know Steve lived very close to it too. And I used to finish most of my runs up Sand Run Hill. So if this old guy can do it, I know our runners can too.
Well, I know that the races on Saturday are the main focus for your race weekend. But I want to talk a little bit about the kinds of activities and benefits that you also provide to runners. And what we're going to do is we're going to take that part of our discussion to newsnight.net.
For more NewsNight content, including extended discussions, full interviews, and the chance to speak your mind about the issues, join us online at newsnight.net.
In the few minutes we have remaining, one of the things I do want to cover and talk about is this sustainability fund that it's new this year. Do I understand that correctly?
Right. We had sort of a lot of discussion on what to call this fund, and all charitable organizations are going to have a calamity at some point in their careers, and so we wanted to have some sort of backbone in the event we do have a calamity. That's one thing. And secondly, we wanted to be able to, we're at our 10th year, and it's a big crossroads for us. And we think that we can affect change in our community in so many other areas. So by building this fund, we could be able to tap on that fund to be able to do those kind of things. And that's why it's important to try to get to our $1 million goal. To date, we've raised about $500,000 sort of quietly. And we still have a ways to go. And if anybody out there would like to help us, we'd be glad to talk to them about our fund. But it's real important to us to be able to have that backbone, to be able to get to that next level. One example, about 5 years ago, we took a stab at trying to get the Olympic trials into Akron. Mm-hmm. And it took a long time for us to marshal the resources to be able to go after that. The people at the Olympics wanted to know we had that backup.
Yeah, the resources.
Right. So by having those resources already in place and building upon that, we can be able to go after those kind of opportunities.
But it would be even more than just going after that kind of an opportunity. Would it be to maybe expand your outreach to the community itself?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
There's various ways. There's educational things we can do. There's the child obesity problem.
Wellness initiatives.
Right. There's so many things we can do if we have the proper resources to be able to go after those kind of things.
Well, good luck with raising the kinds of funds for that. That's a very ambitious goal, but a good one. I want to get back to the race, and I want to ask each of you, what is it about the Akron Marathon that attracts so many people?
I'll start with answering that question. I think the Akron Marathon experience is a personal experience for everyone that runs and everyone that spectates along the blue line. Everyone has a different one, and that is the beauty of it. Someone's story is not the same as the person standing next to you, and it is just energetic, very motivating, and just truly inspiring. And the energy on race weekend can just be felt by so many, and again, I think it's Akron at its best.
For me, the two things I've always been proudest of with the race is, one, the wellness impact on the community, but the second, it seems like we've helped put together what some people call their favorite day of the year. People literally say it is their favorite day of the year, and it's like the biggest single-day community party in Akron. As Ann said, it's Akron at its best, but it's also just a big Akron community party. I love it, and people, I think our runners do, and they feel that kind of mutual vibe, and they like coming back and enjoying it.
Well, I want to have you answer this also, Steve, but that just reminded me of something. The bibs have everybody's name on them. And I'll tell you what, there's nothing like running on a race, and you're running through a neighborhood where you don't know anybody, and everybody's calling you, oh, go, Brett, go, Steve, Ann, keep running. And that is just amazing to me, that the people standing there and spectating are, in fact, just part of the whole race because they're urging you on. So,
right.
Anyway.
The question you asked was, what do people think about when they think about the Akron Marathon? The thing that I hear the most is organization. They like and they cherish the way we take care of them. There's so many difficulties in trying to put on this race, and you can't imagine it. People think, we start maybe in June, July, and August. We start in October for the next year's race, and it goes year-round. We have a staff headed by Ann that works year-round to try to make this race so special to so many. It's a very difficult achievement, and so when we pull it off, and we make mistakes every year, and we work on trying to correct those mistakes, but people really appreciate what we've done for them.
The first thing we do after each race ends is each chair of each of the volunteer groups, each of the big committees, ask for all their volunteers to produce, and the chairs all produce a punch list of what went well and what we want to improve next year. And some of our chairs of the committees, have a race to see who gets their comments out first. Usually it's the same day, right?
That's right. Don Lusher, our start line co-chair, for sure.
Don Lusher, our start line chair, will have a list of about 23 things to work on for next year out usually before midnight of the night of the race.
And the only reason why he beats me is because I'm still cleaning up the course.
That's right. That's right.
Well, how about talking about what a race of this sort does for the collective psyche of people here in Akron?
Well, I wish you could read the emails we get. We get emails starting, maybe at 1 o'clock on Saturday, and they go all the way for several weeks after that. And it's just, we've changed people's lives. I mean, it's a very powerful thing to read when you see people that say, I lost 100 pounds training for this event, or I ran with my cousin, or I ran with my brother, or whatever. And you read so many stories, and it's just heartfelt to see that and see the impact that we've had.
What does it make you feel like, Steve, you and Janine, to know that, you came up with this idea that it's almost iconic now, I think, in the city of Akron?
Well, I'm very proud of our accomplishments, no question about it. And, there's hundreds of people behind us. We just lit the spark, really. And so many other people have done the legwork to get us to where we are today. We're very proud of our accomplishments, no question about it.
That's great. Final thoughts? We got 30 seconds.
Again, my final thought would be if you haven't experienced our event, you are cordially invited. September 29th, we're celebrating our 10th running in Akron. Come on out.
And everybody knock wood for a clear, cool, crisp fall morning for September 29th.
Just like I said, everything is free. You can sit on the blue line and watch. You can go to Canal Park and watch. You can go to the start line and watch. It's an experience that you really cherish when it's over with.
Well, thank you all for joining us, and good luck with this year's race. It's an amazing accomplishment that you have done. And thank you for joining us here on NewsNite. You can find out more about the Akron Marathon if you check their website, which is www.akronmarathon.org. Thank you. Good night.